All right, we are live now. So, hey, folks, this is me, Vishwas Nair. I'm the host of this podcast. And trust me, Pioneer Project, the one Luma link, which is floating all around in the internet, it's basically my attempt to understand what that 0 to 1 journey is. And also on this process, I had a chance to meet like close to around 20 to 25 VCs on this journey. And guess what? Naman is that kind of a VC who you really want to go back to and say, yeah, I met this VC called as Naman Jain and I would love to talk to him. And guess what? He's there on the podcast. He's not just going to share his insight as a VC, he's also going to share a perspective about product market fit, founder market fit, the right approach that you need to give as a founder. He was a founder previously as well. So he knows the pain of being a founder and he knows the pain of being a VC because trust me, my friends, being a VC, being a founder is two different persona, two different perspectives, but he has mastered it. So let's start with the podcast and just understand like what is the the things that he has learned and what's the thing that built Naman Jain as a VC today. Thank you so much, Naman, for being on the show. Means a lot.
Yeah. Thank you for having me and saying such good words. I hope I live up to it.
Thank you so much, Naman. Thank you so much, Naman. Let's start with the first question. Let's start about your journey, right? You have been a founder, you're now a VC. Personas are different. You're on both the sides. You're on the side where you have also asked for the fund. Now you're also on the side where you are evaluating the why should I give a fund. So let's talk about your journey.
Yeah, so maybe I can, yeah. So graduated in 2020. I was very active in ML research back in college. Very fascinated about all the algorithms, all the applications which are possible through AI and machine learning. Uh, I actively published as well in college, and the other thing which I was fascinated about was startups. So I did my internship in this company called Observe.ai. I worked there for a couple of months, really enjoyed working with a small team of 30 people, going towards a goal head on, building something new and disruptive from India for the US market. That was like a very fascinating thing for me. And I could see the power of few people working towards a single idea, trying to solve for it, build a business out of it, and basically building a business out of thin air. Like there's nothing which exists, and now people are coming together, working towards a common goal and building a business. So I really liked that concept. And so just after college, I joined this team called Deepen AI. I joined them as one of the very first engineers in the team. They were just at it for 2 years. They had 5 engineers. I joined them as their first AI hire, and my job was to basically integrate a lot of AI features into their product. So I stayed there for 1.5 years, solved a lot of problems, and then I had a knack of starting up on my own. So to do that, since I didn't have any network or sort of gateway into the startup ecosystem, I joined this accelerator called Entrepreneur First. So I was part of their cohort for 3 months, shifted to Bangalore. I was in Hyderabad before, shifted to Bangalore. For 3 months, I interacted with all the people in the cohort, and I was the youngest member in the cohort. So I got to learn a lot from people who were older than me, who have done things. There were people who have started up before, coming again to try something else. There were people who were coming from Europe to India to build something of their own. So there were a whole bunch of people, tech, sales, product, coming together and ideating about different fields, different ideas, and trying to help each other to start up. So there was this community where people were, collaborating and teaming up and trying to build a company. So I partnered up with one person, and we started up this company called Albi, where we tried building a social media platform where you can come and curate knowledgeable content in different sectors. Uh, and the idea was that you can come and share links for blogs, articles, and long form content in various uh, industries, various sectors, various interests. So we tried doing this for 8 months. We tried to scale the platform. However, we couldn't do so because people say they want to read long form content, but actually everybody just wants to consume short form content. So we ended up shelving the idea, and after that, I was in my whole isolated view for 4 years building and writing code, and I wanted to get out of that shell and wanted to explore more, understand more on the macro side. What are the things which are happening, so that I can optimize myself and maybe later on go ahead and build my own venture in a better way. So ended up joining Stellaris Venture Partners as a VC. I thought as a VC I'll get a sense of what all markets are out there, what all problems are out there, how are people building these companies, and then get a sense from the portfolio companies and how the journey look like. So I think I've been here for last 1.5 years, and it has been a lot of learning. I mean, I would have met around 400 founders. I've worked with 10 plus portfolio companies, and it's been a fun ride. So yeah, that has been my journey.
All right. This looks very interesting as a journey, man. I would love to have this in my portfolio as well. Like it's been like 3 years in the industry, so let's see where it goes. But I'm also an aspiring VC. You know me, right? I am like, I just want to just make sure that there is an learning that's happening. So that's where the startup hustle started. The Pioneer project also started in the same way. So let's talk about the VC ecosystem that is there today. You know, you are an founder, you are a VC, and there is an different personas that you have when you are a founder about a VC. But now you're in a VC, there is a whole new perspective shift that might have happened to you. Let's talk about the VC ecosystem today, and also let's talk about like how is this VC ecosystem evolving today? Because fundamentally, uh, back then VCs were those folks who went out there, evaluated the founders, but today there's a lot of talk that happens about the founder market fit, product market fit, and so many things happening out there. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so I think uh, first thing I would say is there is a lot more capital out there than people think, right? There is a lot more
Hmm.
capital, lot many people starting their own funds today than there were, say, 2, 3 years back. Which, well, I wasn't there to see that, but people have told me that uh, nowadays there is a good angel ecosystem where you can go and basically raise money from. There is a good early stage ecosystem where you can go raise money from, and then there is a good layer of growth ecosystem which can take forward the early stage assets, right? So at every layer you will find good number of folks in different sectors, and this is because there have been scaled up companies in each of these sectors. So there have been some companies in SaaS, there have been a lot of companies in consumer and fintech which have scaled up. There are people who have learned the skill of building a business from ground up. So they have actually seen that journey, and then these guys are out there to help other folks and younger folks to come in and build and solve new problems. So the ecosystem has matured a lot, although there is a long way to go, but it is showing signs of maturity where you can actually start up today with a lot more advisors, lot more angels, lot more VCs to help you out in building that business. And if you want to talk, I mean, we can take this forward, but would love to know if you have any pointed questions there. Yeah.
Sure. Let's talk about how do you guys evaluate the founder market fit and a product market fit. As a VC today, you evaluate hundreds of matrices, right? Let's talk about it. You know, let's talk about product market fit first, because fundamentally, a VC's persona of a product market fit is very different from what a founder comes up with. So there is always a thesis versus an anti-thesis kind of an approach that comes up with. So let's talk about product market fit.
Yeah, so at least in the stage where I invest, right, we don't have product market fit. So there are let's start with two things, right? One is there is an existing market, and then there is a market which does not exist. Existing market means that, let's say, pick a sales and marketing tool or lead generation tool. That market is existing forever, right? So if you come up and say that you want to build a new lead generation tool, the product and the market are a fit. Like, the product has been proven before. It's just that you will basically come up and say, I am making a better lead generation tool. So there is no PMF risk there or a PMF issue there. PMF issue comes in the place where you're trying to build something new and innovative, which hasn't been done before or which people are not using right now, right? You're trying to either change a workflow, you're trying to either change some behavior, either you're trying to add something into their existing workflow. So that is where the PMF comes into the picture. And usually PMF comes where there are new problems which evolve. So right now the whole AI wave is going ahead, right? Like, so there are a lot of problems which have come up because a lot of people are adopting AI. Some problems are around deployment, some problems are around evaluation, some problems are around monitoring the AI models. So all these segments are new set of problems which people have not done or tried before, or have done in a very naive manner. Now people are trying to build complex systems out of it which haven't done before. So there is a product market risk there, where you're trying to build a new product, you're trying to build or create a new market, and that's where you see the fit. In terms of evaluation, I think we focus on three things, right? And these are very obvious things, but I can add a lot of nuance to it. So first is the team, second is the market, and third is the product. Now what do I mean by team, product, and market, right? So team, what questions do we look for, right? Or what answers are we looking for? Whether the team has complementary skill sets to build the business. Do they have the domain expertise to build the business? Have they solved this problem before or not? Do they have the hustle and the hunger and the learning agility to evolve and grow as a founder? If you want to take your business from say 0 to 1 to 10 to 100, right? Do they have the ability and the leadership skills to attract talent? Uh, do they uh, do they understand the market which they are operating in? Uh, right, these are some of the things which we look for in the founder. Do they have the clarity of what business they are building? uh, and are they able to say no to things which they don't know? That's like one of the very big skills we look for, right? The second is the market. In the market, that is something which we have to answer. Whether is that market large enough? That's the question which everybody answers, right? But within that market, how what is the growth rate of that market? How quickly is that market growing? What is the adoption rate of that market? How quickly are people adopting solutions in this market, or how quickly are people realizing that this is a problem which exists? How much money are people ready to pay for such a product? How much how many players have existed before in this market? What all products have come up in the market before which people have tried out, failed, or probably tried out and build a company? Is there a space for a new player to come in? So these are some of the questions we try to answer on the market front. On the product side, we try to look for how easy is the product, how sticky is the product, how easy is it to build, what is the differentiation of the product which you are building, uh, how is the UI UX look like. In so I look after SaaS, so I can give a lot more color to that compared to other sectors. But uh, how what is the UI UX of the product? Are people How many people are using that product in an organization? How easy is it to integrate that product? Are there any data regulatory issues? Are there not? uh, yeah, I mean, those are some of the things which we look for. And even for the product itself, the traction also comes into the picture. Do you have some traction or not? How many companies are using your product right now? What is the maturity level of those companies which you are using your product? Are they good logos? Are they some of the best logos in the industry you're operating in? So yeah, I mean, these are some of the top three things which we look for when we are evaluating a company. But a lot more things change based on the market you are operating in.
True. I think market is fine. I think you even addressed the founder market fit here, right? The persona of a founder is very different today. Like, you need to be able to build the right team, attract the right team, right? There is a lot of things happening today in the market. Like, let me just be very frank with you. There is a point in time where founder will feel like this is not going to work out. What does this work around? Or else it can be as good as a market feedback that is coming out there. You should know when to stop and when not to stop, right? Let's talk about a persona of an VC while he's betting on an antithesis, or else anything which he doesn't even believe in. So let's say there are some matrices that come out in the market which you never know about it, and you are evaluating it. What are your perspectives and personas when you are dealing with something which is antithesis that a founder brings to you?
No, so here everybody in the ecosystem have their own views on a market which they're operating in, right? So let's pick sales and marketing tools, right? There are VCs which think sales and marketing tools are crowded. There are enough and many of them. 5,000 tools exist. There is no space for another player to come in, and which creates an antithesis, which is an antithesis for them. They won't touch those tools at all. But then there are some people who would say there is still scope of new tools to come in because it lies in the revenue generating line of a company. So a company may buy more than one tool. So and both the arguments are correct, right? Both of these arguments are correct. Uh, the negative side of it, the positive side of it. It's just that which one do you believe and which one do you think is more relevant for this particular product you are building. So you need to find, if you are raising money, you need to find people who believe in your thesis. So you will find people who will believe in your thesis. That's my takeaway, right? Like there are numerous people in the ecosystem who disagree with me on some things. They won't touch those sectors or segments, but I would be happy to take a bet in those sectors.
Got it, got it. I think this is a very cool podcast. We are giving that persona and perspective for all the founders and even the VCs as well. So let's talk about the first step that a founder should do when he has an idea to an MVP phase, right? So he's about to release his MVP. What should be the readiness that he need to have when he is getting ready for this kind of an approach that he's bringing on the table? Like, what should be his preparedness that he needs to have when he is transitioning his idea into an MVP today?
No, just work with the customers. I think religiously work with the customers. A lot of people think, and a lot of people miss the simple thing that they try to build the product from their own intuition or their own. Maybe they talk to their friends and family, and then they go ahead and build the product. But I don't think that's the right way to do. What you should be doing is you should be doing a lot of outbound. You should be connecting with a lot of early adopters and design partners which have this problem very core to them, and then work alongside with them to build your MVP. So you have an idea, you go to them, understand their pain points, understand their workflow, understand how much are they spending to solve for this problem, what are they doing to solve for this problem, and then build the MVP alongside with them, where they are the users. You have your early users, you have, and charge them money. You don't have to do it for free. Charge them money, work alongside with them, and build the tool with them. But work really closely with your customers.
I think this is a full-fledged 18 to 19 minutes of podcast that we have done right now. Just going to give them a persona about like how is this PMF, how is the VC evaluating. Man, this is the shortest podcast that I've done, but this has a lot of deep understanding that is required for you. So I think folks, don't worry about it. If you have any doubts, queries, and questions, reach back to Naman. Naman is an amazing VC, very humble, very reachable in terms of the social aspects. Like you just go to him. You can just connect with him on LinkedIn, and he will be able to help you in many of these aspects. So just go with him, connect with him, and of course, let's end this podcast. This is Vishwas Nayan signing off from the show. Thank you so much for being on the show, my friends. Probably a new guest, a new podcast, a new topic, and a new episode full of energy. That's that's what I can promise to you, folks. So see you soon, my friends. Meet you in a new podcast with a new guest and a new perspectives that you're going to have about the startup ecosystem. Thank you, Naman, for being on the show. Means a lot.
Thank you for having me, Vishwas. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's end this broadcast.